Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, October 23rd. Yeah, almost a week away from Halloween. And we're getting into silly season. But with silly season comes a few things. Number one, massive product push for the next month and a half. It'll stop around a week and a half before Christmas. And then after that, there's almost no break. There'll be about a week and a half of kind of quiet. And then the rumors will really start going on for all the new stuff that's going to come out at NAMM. And I've been thinking about it a lot, probably more than most people that watch YouTube, obviously, because I was invited again this year, and I'm not sure. I don't think it's financially feasible to go at all, and it's stuff I want to talk about, and I want to get your guys' opinions on, because the way that things are going right now, with everything slowing down, not just with music gear sales, just a lot of things are hitting kind of bad sales, and people are getting laid off, and that's another stuff we could talk about, because there's stuff with PRS even now after the GNL stuff, although PRS are by no means going to go under like GNL did. That would be freaking insane. Just a lot of things that have impacted spending, which will impact how much companies are willing to spend on marketing, which will impact how much money people like me make, which will impact our decisions as to how far we're going to invest into this going into the future, if we're even going to do it at all, or just find something else, because it's not something you want to do for free, and it's definitely not something you want to do with a loss. Definitely not something you want to do with a loss. So, hello, Daniel, Greg, David, Lexicon Devil. Opinions on the new American Fenders. The prices seem great. I talked about them last week. I'm indifferent. I don't have anything good to say about them, but I don't have anything bad to say about them. I like the colors. Colors are pretty cool. Prices are fine. I mean, here's where I look at it, right? And this is gonna come off as shameless self promotion, but it's just the truth. Like, if you look at Reverb for other models, like, you'll find similar kinds of pricing, right? I'm selling a Fender American Vintage 2 Telecaster in surf green. All right. I'm selling it for $14.49 all in on my website. In every way, that's a better guitar than you're going to get for $1,600 with one of the new American Classic Professionals. In every way, it's just a better instrument, and it makes those sorts of guitars a harder buy, because with Strats and Tellys, even the Jazzmaster to an extent these days, there's so many options available that inevitably, because these guitars are mass produced, a lot of them end up on the used market, sometimes fairly quickly, sometimes, just over time. People either find out they want something else, or, this community changes their mind every 10 minutes and wants the new shiny object, such as something we'll find at NAMM. But there's just so much competition in that sort of price point, even from Fender themselves. You take every other brand out of the picture on the used market, and just with how prices are right now, I just don't know. I think out of all of them, the only one that's, understandably somewhat, what's the word? Interesting would be the Jaguar, because it's the first time, a production Jaguar that's kind of right has been made, and the colors are good. So you don't have those same amount of used options available with the Jag as you do with the Tele, with the Strat, or even with the Jazzmaster. I get it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the pricing. And, you compare it to other big brands. It's better than PRS offers you for their bolt-ons by a mile. And Gibson don't offer bolt-on guitars. So, yeah, it is what it is. That's a great deal. Yeah, well, I can't sell it. I've been trying. The market's down, man. And sometimes I laugh, because so much of what I do, this is inside baseball. I'm just looking at the stuff here. Since I started working with Zounds, right? I don't get paid to make those videos. I don't. The only time I'll make any money is if someone actually uses the affiliate link. So what ends up happening is, when I do something and say nobody buys anything from it, like what's a good example of this? The Yamaha. When I did the Yamaha Japanese guitar, nobody bought any of those. Nobody bought any of the Boss Katanas. Nobody bought any of the Laneys. Things like that. There's actually a few more of them. It's kind of shameful to admit here, but I think about who is buying and who is getting slowed down, and a lot of external factors. But then that kind of makes me like rethink all this stuff too. You know what I mean? Because this is not as easy as setting up a camera, recording everything and having it done in 15, 20 minutes, even an hour, and then just having it magically edited. It's just a lot of time into it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, a lot to reconsider. But this next month will be a lot because my kid is going on a mini vacation to visit my parents. She really wanted to go. And since the holidays are so hectic, we said, yeah, this would be a good time for her to go up north because we homeschool her, so she's not on any sort of schooling schedule like that. And I'm going to have at least 2 weeks where I'm just going to be working my freaking butt off. I can't do anything right now, though. My finger's messed up. Anyway. So you're incentivized to review stuff that will sell. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how far deep inside of this do you guys want to go? I could talk about this all day. I mean, I don't know how much you guys assume. I don't know what people do tell you. I don't know how much of that's true. I don't know anything. I can't speak for other people. And obviously it's not good to, give full inside baseball here. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like if you guys did understand, at least from my perspective and my situation, how this stuff works the majority of the time, I don't think it hurts anybody. And I'm not, calling anybody out or stuff like that. But it's not like that for everybody. Zounds are the best, though. Zounds are definitely the best. Because with Zounds, I'm not given a list of gear to pick from, or brands to pick from, rather, for each month. Which I love, because that gives me complete freedom. So I'm not stuck saying, okay, say I get listed 6 brands, and one of them I'm lukewarm on, but of the 6 of them, from some other places, right? But one of them I'm kind of like, all right, I can make something work. I pick the one brand. You make the pitch for the one brand. You have to explain why they should send it to you and all of this kind of stuff. Hope you get approved. If you do get it, the positive is that you can keep it, which is, that's ideal, because with Zounds, I don't get to keep any of this stuff. It comes here, I make a few videos to send it back, right? But I don't have the freedom of being able to truly pick what I want, because look at my channel. My channel's not Rhett Shawls as far as the numbers go and the views go. I can't post some nonsense. And I'm not pointing at it Rhett here, but I'm just saying in general, once you get to a certain level on this platform, you could post garbage, just low effort nonsense, and you're still going to get 20 to 100,000 views on it. I don't have that. So when brands are negotiating with you, or you're talking to brands, that's super important to them. Your subs don't matter. It's that reach of how many people on average are going to click on your videos for marketing stuff. And what I love about Zounds is there's none of that. There is no pitching. There's no, oh, you don't qualify for this, or there's no oh, this brand is not doing anything, or they're not going to do any sort of promotion. No, I could just, I pick whatever I'm interested in, and you're right, because it does incentivize me, and I'll spoil another can of worms here. That's the reason I've done the SE guitar that I've done. I don't think they're fantastic instruments. I know a lot of people love those guitars. I'm just being blunt with you. I know a lot of people love those guitars. I don't think they're bad. I certainly don't think they're bad guitars. But I think they're comically overrated, and I think they're overpriced. That's just my own personal opinion. But at the same time, it's not about me. It's about the consumer. I learned that from Joe Dirt many years ago. So people like that stuff. And it does somewhat impact my decisions, but not always. Not always. Because look at this, I just got the Reverend. You're going to tell me that it was smarter to go for the Reverend than it would have been for one of these new American Classic Pro Telecasters? View-wise and potentially income-wise, it would have made way more sense for me to take the Tele. It would have 10x'd in views. And then more people are more likely, because, and another thing about guitar players, because it's a Fender product, more people are likely to buy a Fender or a Gibson, and to a lesser extent a Paul Reed Smith. But of the three of them, like Fender and Gibson, easy. So when you take the opportunity, you're like, you know what? No, I don't want to. Like, Reverend had nothing to do with any of that. Nobody steered me in that direction. If anything, the people that steered me in a direction were the people in the comments section saying I have to check them out again. That's what did it. And I saw the new models, and I thought they looked good, especially the one that I demoed that I'm working on a full review of. The Jetstream 290 in the white with the Bigsby and the 2P90s. The thing is, it's so good. It really is. It's a great guitar, and I'm happy I did it. But these are all things that I have to consider. It is what it is. You need to sell some stuff right now. There's no motivation from your answering cork sniffers questions, lowering price, and so on. Oh no, it's not fun. It's not a great time to be selling because there are so many people selling. There are just so many people selling, and yeah, not having really rare stuff like I used to. Like when I used to have to sell things, it wouldn't bother me because I would be the only one that would have it. That's what I loved about the Japanese guitars. It's a real shame that happened this year, because it completely transformed this channel. Not importing from Japan anymore. But makes selling stuff that everybody else has a little bit more difficult. You have to win on price. You always get way too excited for whatever the new Shub Capo launches will be at NAMM. I'm sorry, I've been reading a lot of funny stuff, and I did not read what you wrote as what you wrote in my head there. I'm sorry about that, Steve. But I know you're addicted. I just saw you at another guitar show. Lexi, you're indifferent when it comes to NAMM. There are awesome things that have debuted there, but I don't really keep tabs on it. What's up, Rafa? How's it going? Okay. Let me just go for the NAMM thing, because I know a lot of people click on these sorts of videos, and that'll be the first thing, that's the topic, and I already kind of tangented from there. NAMM. All right. To go to NAMM, like, the nice thing for me, since I was invited as a creator, and I assume, most people that go as creators, they're going to be in the same kind of boat that I'm in. I don't have to pay for my passes, which is nice, so that saves, a few $100. But I'd have to pay for, the airfare, and then the lodging and all the food, and then I'm working the whole time I'm there. I gotta be filming, otherwise, what's the point, right? And with, everything slowing down, like, I don't think it's feasible, because you're gonna dump in thousands of dollars as a creator for little incentive, because people aren't buying as much new. Like, believe me, I see every day I check the affiliate reports on the sites that I'm an affiliate for. It's not even half of what it was last year. And that's not me complaining. That's just reality, because I get it too. Like, I'm not buying as much. And you guys would have seen, and I've talked about it on here, I've been offloading a bunch of stuff, because I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I'd rather have the money for it. I don't need it. And what I have is great. And if a company wants to work with me, and I like the brand, and I actually like what I'm playing, great. I can go from there. But as far as spending my own money out of pocket, which is what NAMM would be, it's very expensive. You're basically flushing $3,000 to $5,000 down the drain just to make some videos that people may or may not click on. And then the videos, even if it gets like 10,000 views, that's like $50, $100 before tax. So it's a tough proposition. But outside of just like the creator end of it, think of it as the people that are the brands. Okay, they got to spend way more money to get the booths. You're coming off of a slower sales year than usual, because we don't need to get into it, but obviously we know things have happened and things have kind of stagnated and less people are buying. So your brand, you have to pay well in advance to be able to get into NAMM, to reserve your booth. Once you're there, there's other things you have to consider. How many people from your staff are you going to bring with you? How much product are you going to bring with you? All that is going to add up even exponentially more than that, because it's more than just one person. Are you just going to have people share hotel rooms? Are you going to make your employees pay their own way if they want to go this year, and you're not like a giganto megacorp like Paul Reed Smith or Fender or Gibson, you know, say you're like Lawler, right? For this example, like, I don't know their position here. I'm just saying company scale wise with the amount of employees, right? Like, you don't have all this extra money to be like, all right, well, comparatively, I'm going to pay for these employees to go. I'm going to pay for their food. I'm going to pay, day stipends so that they have daily pay on top of that. So they're not just going for free or whatever, because they're employees. They work for your company. All these costs add up. And when sales are slow, that becomes more difficult. And then you're just going to be introducing, just as a whole, not Lawler here or any brand. I was just using Lawler again as just an example. I'm not affiliated anything with that company. But knowing that things have slowed down and people aren't buying as much stuff in general, is it worth it to invest that much money into it? And if you do it, like, you got to really make it worth your while. So I think it's going to be very different this year. I don't think as many people are going to go. Like, you're always going to have, the big people show up. You're going to have the artists show up because they're all going to get paid to go. They're not going to pay anything out of pocket for that. It makes sense for them, and they've earned the right to do that based on, their track record, whether they're a well-known musician that has a signature model, or just a well-known musician that endorses a brand. Sometimes the brand will just be like, I'll give you a few grand to pop in, do a 1-hour Q&A or a clinic or something like that. And it's good publicity. I just don't know. I don't know about this year. It just feels like it's going to be different. And how many people forget even the creators like myself, forget the brands, talk about the actual audience, the normal people that just go because they like the event. They like going to conventions. They like seeing all the new gear. They like touching it. They're not creators. They're just people that are really into this stuff. How many more people are going to go for that? Because at least for me, like I was just saying how expensive it would be for me to go. I don't have to pay for a ticket, even with that included in that. If a normal person wants to go to NAMM, odds are, they're not going to be going by themselves, and they don't have anything to gain out of it or any way to get that money back. So that $3 or $4 grand is more expensive than $3 or $4 grand now to go. And you don't know what you're going to get this year, because I feel like costs are starting to be reduced a little bit. And I understand it's like the show. It is the show, but I can't help but just think it's going to be a little bit different. So I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on that. Ideally, I'd like to talk to somebody that's like my channel size that normally goes to NAMM, or maybe a little bit bigger than my channel size, to get their thoughts on it, because they would have probably a little bit more inside track of what's happening behind the scenes, perhaps. But let me catch up. Okay, you're indifferent about NAMM. There's always awesome things, but you don't keep tabs on it. Yeah, I'm kind of that way. Zounds has been fantastic in my situation. I love Zounds too. Like, out of everyone I've worked with, they, like, company-wise, they've been the best. They have been. They've just been like, all right, whatever. You want one of these? Cool. Here's your tracking information. I'm like, are you serious? It's unheard of. I don't have to write you an essay of why you should send this to me. It's great. Not a Reverend fan, but one I had look awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool guitar. How's the custom Mustang? It's great. It's great. I really like the narrower nut width. It's not as narrow as the Jag. The Jag, I measured it. It was 39.5 millimeters. Super narrow. The Mustang is a hair over 41. I love that guitar. Never been to the Anaheim, but used to go to the Summer NAMM in Nashville, and it was always a blast. Yeah, remember when they used to have summer and winter NAMMs? That was a different time too, right? Everything's a-changing. Everything's a-changing. Well, yeah, when I lived in San Diego, there were 2 conventions I went to on a regular basis. I went to Comic-Con, and I went to NAMM. I can't remember the last year I went to NAMM. It was like right before I got married, so it had to have been either 2015 or 2016. I don't remember. It gets hazy the older you get, but I haven't been to one since. Yeah, it was very different, though, from what I see when people film now. Very different. Creators are usually sponsored to go to NAMM by certain brands. That's what they want you to think. That's why it makes sense for the million subscriber ones to go. Plus, you got to be a suck up. You can't be honest, Jim. Well, that's part of it too. But I don't know. I don't want to be. I don't want to be associated with a brand where I have to bullshit. Anyways, even if I like their products, like I don't want to work like that. I don't want to have to say on camera, this is the best guitar that you can buy for under $500. It's like a definitive statement. Like it's just bullshit. Or just hype up all the little things and just say the company taglines. And I get it. It's good business. It's good marketing for them. Some people have different visions on how they want to market things, but yeah, I've done this for 5 years. If it was going to happen, it would have already happened. So, let it go. Now that you think of it, NAMM content never made someone's channel blow up. No, of course not. Of course not. Because you're not there for the person. That's the other thing. When you click on the newest thing that shows up, say Fender released an American Vintage 2 Jaguar, and I'm the one that covers it. Now, this was a freaking dream scenario for me, right? The people that click on that video that see that, if I'm the first one to post it, 99% are going to have no idea who the hell I am, and that I actually love Jaguars, know what I'm talking about with Jaguars. I'm not an authority, but I understand the model because I've had so many of them, and I actually genuinely love the guitars. I don't just say I do and I pose to them. I actually love the guitars. They're there for the guitar. I'm just the person that was there at the convention that gets to first look at it, and then I'm probably just holding a microphone up, and all you're going to hear is, the Fender representative tell me about the model and why it's the best vintage recreation that they've ever made. You know what I mean? So even if those sorts of videos get a ton of views, they're not there for you. They're there for the product entirely. Whereas if you demo it and you do it in your own way, which is kind of the way I prefer to do demos, it's a very different experience because you can really give your own spin on it. When you're in an environment like NAMM, you don't have the liberty to do that. You certainly don't. And when a company is the one and you're at their booth, they're going to want, certain things done a certain way for obvious reasons. So, yeah, it's tough. The thing with events like NAMM is if you're making content, you got to upload it immediately. Exactly. That's the other thing. And it's just like a rush. So you can't even enjoy it. You're spending all this money. If I would go to that, I would map out exactly what brands I wanted to get to. I'd get there first. And then I'd leave. I would literally go back to the hotel and I would just edit it and upload it and be done. And then maybe I'd go hang out. Maybe. But from a business standpoint, because this is, if you expect to get money doing YouTube, like you have to do that because if you're not first, it doesn't matter. And that's the other thing. And that's why I was so frustrated with Fender because, oh man, the day one stuff is so important when you do this to people. Is so freaking important. And even if you're 2 days later or 3 days later with a major launch, you've substantially handicapped the video. And that sucks. And let me tell you what else sucks about it. The fact that you even think about that as somebody who's a guitar player. I still don't look at myself as an influencer. I know people that, they see the channel. They probably think that. But I don't look at it like that at all. And it's awkward. It's weird. But that's what you need. You need to get in with these companies. And how's the best way to get in with these companies? You go to the NAMM. You drop $5,000 to go and then you go to the bar after and you kiss their ass or, you become friends with them, whatever. Not everybody that does this is nefarious. Some of them are legitimately professionals, But you know how, in any sector, some people are just a certain way. They'll say or do whatever so that they can get ahead. That's just life. That's any job that you're competing with. But you're going to dump all that money in so that potentially Fender or Gibson or PRS or Marshall or Vox, whatever big company, is going to get big behind you. Because the reason why those companies are more important to an extent, if you want to make a career out of this, let's just level. We're calling a spade, whatever. They're the companies that have the money. They have the budgets, and they're able to send you stuff constantly. Look at some of these channels. They're getting new stuff like 6-7 times a year. Look at the monetary value of that. That adds up. That adds up a lot. And compare that to what I do. And this is not saying like They're better, I'm worse, they're worse. Just look at it as a one side versus the other side. Like, just because it's at the end of the day, we're making similar sorts of stuff. Like, we're demoing gear. I'm going to borrow something, and then I got to hope somebody buys it, or I don't get paid. Whereas if you get in with one of these brands, they're going to send you something. You get the day one, which is huge for your channel, and you get to keep it. And then they're just going to keep sending you stuff. Because some of these people, I just look at it now, I just scratch my head. I'm like, you know what the hell you're talking about. But it doesn't matter. Just like talent doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. It's so much of it is marketing, sales, networking. And it's made all of this feel so foreign to me, you know? So there's a lot of factors that go into it behind the scenes. Oy. All right. The thing, yeah, okay. Let me see here. Aren't there events where creators' friends are meeting and chatting about changes in the community, building synergies also? I don't know. If there are, I can tell you one guy that's not invited to those things. No, in all seriousness, I've never heard anything like that. What I assume, and I know that there are some of these. I'm not in any of them, but I know that there are some of these. There's like little group chats. You know what I mean? Whether it's like an Instagram message group or, you know, just an iMessage group or maybe a Discord group or whatever, right? Where a lot of people get together, or Facebook. I know there's ones on Facebook. So they probably bounce ideas off each other and do stuff like that. And that's probably how a lot of collaborations happen. And yeah, it would make a lot of sense. But no, I'm not involved with any of that stuff. I kind of like it that way. Unless I was going to work with somebody on a song, even if it's just a cover and we're just working together and we're doing a product thing, but like we get to work on a song together, like I'd be down with that. I'd 100% be down with that. But just like shooting the breeze on the gear stuff with somebody that also does the gear stuff just seems so redundant. Not something I want to spend my time doing. I remember getting a Mars Volta EP from Zounds back in the day. Speedy delivery and nothing was damaged. Loves them ever since. Man. Mars Volta EP. That was a while ago. Yeah, I used to sell records, didn't I? Do they still sell records? I don't know if they do. But anyway. That's it with NAMM. So my point was just, I don't know. Because I only slightly get the peek behind the curtain. I don't have the full-on experience. But I think it would be fun to go. And I know you guys would like it if I went. Like some of you guys would like it. Because I would probably ask questions that would get me in trouble. Not intentionally, but I probably would. Like if I went to Fender, I'd have a lot of questions for them. About the Jaguar. And why they hate it so much. But, yeah. I don't know. I just don't. It's not feasible. I don't make anywhere near enough money. To go to NAMM would cost me, and I'm not exaggerating here, an entire year's worth of YouTube revenue. I'm going to say that again so you can understand. For me to go book my flight, book a hotel, take food into account. Luckily, I don't drink anymore, so it would be less expensive than some people's trips. But even that, and then flying home, and then I'm working while I'm there. It's not even a vacation. I don't get to, do anything fun with my kid. That would be a year's worth of me uploading videos. A year's worth. And I got to pay it all up front. Does that seem like a smart business or financial decision to you guys? Be honest. If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby trademark. Yeah, that's pretty true. Let's see how you guys are doing on this. Well, we got 18 votes. Do you look forward to going to NAMM every year? Or look forward to NAMM every year, not going? Yes, you love seeing all the gear is on top with 39%. You check out stuff after the show at 28%. You're indifferent and you don't care are both at 17%. With 18 people having tallied. How much total for the trip? Like I said, you're looking at roughly $3,000 to $4,000 for everything. So yeah, and you guys think I'm kidding. I showed on a stream. If you were here, you saw it. I made the video members only afterwards, the replay of the stream, because I thought better of it. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want that out there. I showed how much I made last year, and I showed how much I made this year from YouTube. No bullshit. I actually showed the screen that shows you how little money I made. And it's not a woe is me. It's not. Because up until this year, the way I was able to make money and not just go bankrupt on this, because sadly, like, I know people that do YouTube, that have done YouTube, that have been operating at a gigantic loss doing this for years because they spend all the money out of pocket because they don't get in with the brands. And even though they're good, and in my opinion, some of them are so good, like, again, I don't understand how people get picked over them. They're going to drop $10,000 to $20,000 on new gear annually, sell it for a loss, and then, make sure they go to the events and cover all the news topics because, that's what so many people are interested in. And I'm just like, damn, that sucks, because I wasn't in that boat. When I was buying stuff from Japan, I never operated at a loss. Never. Because I had stuff that was interesting, different, and it resold here because you couldn't get it here. So I was supplementing the fact that, yeah, YouTube wasn't paying me shit. The pay is awful. But I don't mind it. Because it wasn't the way I looked at, monetizing YouTube. My way of monetizing YouTube was buying and selling guitars. And then this year, obviously, with the things that have changed, and honestly, it's not just that. The prices in Japan have gone up because things have started to go haywire there as well. It didn't seem sustainable, and it's not something I wanted to gamble on anymore because the market here sucks, as is a general whole. So that entire income that I had for the first 4 years of doing this, that really kept the whole thing afloat and made it so I was just like, okay, this is worth doing because I can actually make some money. It just was totally removed in April of this year. So, yeah. That's why the channel dramatically changed since then. That's the only other Japanese guitar I've demoed. That's the last one, the Jaguar. I got that in right at the buzzer at the end of March. So it's just not something that's feasible. For me, at least. Like, I'm not made of money. Not enough to be able to go and spend on a trip like that. Like, if I'm gonna spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a trip, you can bet your ass it ain't to a freaking convention so that I can do stuff that I already do at home. I'm not doing that. If I'm gonna spend $3,000 or $4,000, I'm gonna fly to Japan. I'm gonna go all in with it, and I'm gonna make it a family vacation where we can all go and have a great experience. Because I just don't have money like that. I don't have it. It is what it is. And I just wonder how many other people are going to look at this year's event and knowing that, this was a slower season than normal, especially compared to the last, 4 years. Maybe some people are still doing great with the affiliate sales. But for many of us that don't get the brands, because, it's a small number of people that get to work with Fender, with PRS, that are actually getting to keep the stuff. They're getting paid on top of keeping the stuff. How many people upload to YouTube about guitar stuff or trying to become somebody like that? The percentage of people that are actually making a living doing that it's tiny. It's very small. So for everybody else that wants to go to these and do the networking and all that, maybe this year will be the year to be like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I need the money. I don't have that kind of money right now to dump into it. Just some food for thought. Yes, I have. We were supposed to move there in 2020. A few months before I uploaded my very first YouTube video. Everything was scheduled. We were good. And then the world shut down. And I just laughed. I was like, of course, we decided to make positive life changes. We're really going to do it. We're not just going to talk. We're going to actually do it. And yeah, that was that. Then we were locked in our little San Diego 550 square foot house. And that was the end of that. And Japan was like, nope, nobody's coming in. And that lasted for a long time. Japan were pretty harsh about that. They were really strict. And then things changed. We moved to Florida and kind of fell off the table. And also, my kid got older. At the time, if we had gone in 2020, it would have been way easier for her to integrate and way easier for her to learn the language at that time than it is now. So, yeah. Yeah, totally. It would just be so much different. That's how it works. When you think you're ready, the world punches you in the face, Scott. Yeah. That's life. You just got an email that... Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. Because I don't think I could play today. I really don't. I'm not going to show you because it's kind of gross. But I got a cut that goes underneath my fingernail. And when I sat to play last night for a little bit, I was like, this really hurts. But then I looked at it and mucus was coming out from where my fingernail attaches to my finger on my ring finger. And I was like, oh, that's really bad. I should probably hit that with some hydrogen peroxide and Neosporin. So I did. Oh, man. But I'm probably going to have to do some sort of yapping video. So my yapping video will likely be about all these cash grab guitars and how stupid some people are in this community. There's no other way. There's no other word for it. It's so silly. Only guitarists are like this. Only we fall for this dumb crap. And it's not everybody, but it's enough for the companies to continue to do it. That's how you know it's a problem. Oh, 100% John Mayer has his hands insured. 100%. 100%. When you get to that level, 100%. Yeah, he's not playing with that. I know, like, footballers, it's the same thing. Like, Ronaldo, I know he's got, like, I think his right leg insured at the bare minimum. He's kind of got to, even though he's pushing 40. He's on his way to scoring 1,000 goals. Yeah. I know Neymar, same thing. He's insured. Like, yeah, all athletes and people like that rely on their bodies to make their income, they're insured once that you hit a certain level. And it's not with Affleck. I remember that duck. He was a funny fellow. I want to see those. They're really $580. Oh, what do you know? They are $580. And what do you know? The Fender affiliate team sent me an email. Let's read what the email says. I can't show it to you. I'm sorry. The iconic Hello Kitty collaboration is here. Collaboration. Thank you for being a valued partner. Yeah, we're partners. In the Fender affiliate program. We wanted to share the exciting launch of the Hello Kitty collection. Our iconic collaboration blends the bold and colorful aesthetic of Hello Kitty with the unparalleled performance of Fender gear. These bold guitars, accessories, and merch items won't last long. Explore the collection here. Add start date October 23rd at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then something about a holiday gift shopping stuff. Okay. Let me look at the collection. There's a whole collection. It's not just a guitar. So 3 guitars, a white one, a black one, and a pink one. A fuzz pedal, that's $125. A cable, a crew neck sweatshirt, a poly strap, a graphic t-shirt, another graphic t-shirt, a picton, and a white and pink hoodie. You can go to Fender.com and check that out. I'm sure it's probably the top of their webpage. But I just thought it was funny that the ad was the first thing in my email. Good for Gilbert died? I feel like Gilbert, hasn't he been dead? Yeah. Yeah, he's been dead. I loved watching Gilbert with Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald's my favorite comedian of all time, and it's not even close. he was hilarious with Norm. He was hilarious with Norm. And so is Super Dave. Super Dave Osborne. If you know, you know. Yeah, a few years back, voice of the Affleck. Yeah. Gilbert was really funny. Not everybody's cup of tea. I can understand it. But it's a lot funnier, a lot of the hacks that we have these days. I look at who's popular now, and I'm like, do you guys remember the movie Idiocracy? It was a Mike Judge movie. It was made in the 2000s, I believe, where it predicted society would just become a bunch of freaking morons, and all the intelligent people weren't going to have kids, while the low IQ people were going to have like 50, and then everything would just be an absolute joke. And President Macho Camacho Mountain Dew, Terry Crews, was in charge, and they couldn't figure out that water was what you needed to grow plants. Anyway, I just spoiled a lot of the plot of the movie. But my point is, I feel like comedy is already there. Like, you have guys like Bert Kreischer. His entire gimmick is being a fat drunk that goes on stage and takes his shirt off, and that guy makes a freaking living. I don't get it. I don't get it. Then you have like people like Andrew Schultz. That guy sucks. He's not funny at all. And these people have like comedy empires. I just don't get it. I compare it to somebody like Norm, who was a genuine genius, or even somebody like, obviously Artie Lang had like a lot of problems with substances. But like when he was in his prime, Artie was like pretty good at stand up. Like he was actually, and he was good on his feet too. Like he didn't need to have like everything totally scripted. Like in the audience, he gave it back to people pretty good. And yeah, and I grew up listening to the original roast because my dad loved the Friars Club roast. So I got to hear a lot of Don Rickles. And I thought Rickles was hilarious. Even though, you know, they're dated. The jokes are very dated. But nowadays, like, I just look at a lot of these stand-up guys. I'm like, this sucks. Like, this isn't very funny at all. It's just sad. And people just like herp derp. They love it. Darren, welcome in. Appreciate you joining in, becoming a member. Super Dave. Yeah, I love Super Dave. Appreciate all you guys that are members and all that stuff. Seriously, that means a lot to me. And now you don't have to wait. Whenever I post anything, you get it, and you don't have to watch with ads, I don't think either. Mountain Dew on all the crops. It's got electrolytes, man. It's got electrolytes. Yeah, that's the line. Electrolytes. It's what plants crave. That's the line. You got it. What a perfect movie. And Upgrade coming back. Upgrade wanted his money so bad that at the end of the movie he came back from the time machine. And how fitting is it when they were having the rehabilitation and the band was playing, they're all playing these shitty SGs. It's the little details in movies that stand out to me. I'm like, oh, it's genius. It's genius. Welcome to Costco. I love you. Don Rickles and Norm are my top two favorites. You got good taste. Man. You got really good taste. Don Rickles was funny, man. That movie that had all three of them in it, Don Rickles, Artie Lang, and Norm Macdonald. I love saying his name like that. Norm Macdonald. Dirty Work. Rickles was pretty funny in that when he showed up. He only had a brief cameo, but he was good. And I think that's the only time all three of them worked together. Had to have been. But yeah, no, Rickles was a legend. I love Don Rickles. What's up, Stan? How you doing, buddy? Love Don Rickles. Hey, do you wrap your tune-o-matics? Top wrap them. Nope. No, I do not. I'm not super against it. I just don't do it. I don't believe in that horse voodoo. All my guitars that have a tune-o-matic, they all stay in tune pretty well. Even the Gibson. The headstock hasn't broken on the Gibson, and it stays in tune pretty well. Oh no, that's not what I read on the gear page. Here, if you look at them funny, they break. He was hysterical. Ripped the shit out of the audience. Yeah, there were a lot of great comics, and there's still some pretty good ones today. And like, and look at the people that are like trying to like take on the Friars Club, the Friars Club thing, like Tony Hinchcliffe, that Kill Tony thing, stuff, to hurt people's feelings or whatever. But it was out of love. It really was, because you could tell like these people they all hung out together. They're regulars, and they deeply cared for each other. Oh, did this thing crash out? Oh no. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're talking about comedy. Why not? But here's the thing with the Tony Hinchcliffe show, the Kill Tony show. They're not they're not doing it with the same place of like coming from love. They're doing it to put other people down and feel good about themselves. And it's just awkward. Like if you've ever watched it and somebody bombs, they make so the difference is too, if you're not familiar with the show, basically what Kill Tony is, you have a panel of like uh judges, so to speak. Like Tony, who's the head of the show, the head comedian guy, and then Brian Redband, who used to be he used to work with Joe Rogan, and then they'll have other people come on, like other comedians. Like sometimes they'll even have funny ones on, like Shane Gillis. And so what they'll do is they'll call people up, they'll pull their names out of a hat, and they'll come up on stage, and they got a minute to do stand up on the spot. And when these people bomb, they just mock them in front of the crowd and rip them apart for up to like 5-10 minutes afterwards. Or if they do really good, sometimes the comics will get jealous. They'll try and one up them. It's just like, it's so weird, man. It's just so weird. But people like it because people like, I don't know, people love negativity. It's the same thing on YouTube. People love negativity. If I posted a video tomorrow and I was just like, this guitar sucks, and I just show like the Gibson logo and I have an angry face, it could be about nothing. I bet you people click it because people just like negativity. And just like, I don't know, like, I just don't think many of those guys are funny. Like I mentioned Shane Gillis. I think he's pretty funny. But a lot of those guys, man, it's just like, they just seem bitter. And I don't know why they're bitter. They're rich. Those guys got rich being mean. Smile. Smile, you mannequin. Lewis Black. Gaffigan. Oh, Gaffigan sucks. Gaffigan's got to be one of the worst comics I've ever seen in my life. That guy's even worse than Tony Hinchcliffe. Because Gaffigan's just like irredeemably unfunny. I can at least point to instances where, despite me not liking Tony's kind of, pompous attitude, he's made me laugh a little bit. Gaffigan, he's just awkward. Just like so awkward. So awkward. It's the American Idol effect. Everyone has to be a critic about everything now instead of enjoying something. You win the prize of the day. It's true though, right? Isn't that just how it is? You got to bring somebody else down to feel good. That's why, like, I don't know. Like, I personally never found Joe Rogan, like, funny as a comedian at all. I don't really listen to his podcast either. But one thing I really like about that guy is he really set his friends up well. Like, the people who were good to him before he got, like, to be Joe Rogan, like, he took care of them in the same way that, like, Adam Sandler, like, you remember those Adam Sandler movies? When, like, he really became a huge thing. He made it a point to make sure that his friends had, even if they were just tiny cameos in the movies. So you got to recognize them. And it was to the point where you're like waiting for somebody like a Steve Buscemi to pop up randomly and see what role he was going to be in whatever new Sandler movie was coming out. And like when people are that loyal to like people they consider their friends and it's not like a flash in a bag and they have nothing to gain from it, like I respect that. I really do. Because that's doing the complete opposite of what I just described from Tony Hinchcliffe. Instead of pulling others down to feel good about yourself, like you're giving people an opportunity to rise up. You know what I mean? So just on that like core level, no other substance needed. I don't need to talk about any of their beliefs, anything they said, any of the guests, anything. Just like looking at people like Sandler and Rogan as my examples here, as people who have made it and then using their status after having made it to help their friends. Like I think that's really, really admirable, and it's a positive thing. Unfortunately, it's made a lot of really bad comics think they're funny. But that's what a good friend would do. You need to be somewhat damaged to be a successful comedian. Yeah, for sure. Gotta have thick skin even to digest Kill Tony. Not even mention it. Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes it's just weird, man. Like, I don't know. We saw Tony Hinchecliff in San Diego. I want to say 2018. He opened for somebody, and I didn't think he was bad. So we ended up Googling him and we found Kill Tony and we watched a few and we were like, geez. Like this is really, really different. Sandler has always made movies and albums with his friends and it worked. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You remember listening to What the Hell Happened to Me by Adam Sandler when I was a kid. It became your favorite comedy album. Yeah, even the Hanukkah one. And that was different too. Do you guys remember those little comedy cassettes, like the Jerky Boys? The prank calls and all that stuff. I don't know, who else used to do that? Like Carolla, Adam Carolla, he would do those. We won't speak of the other one. Yeah, it looks like the stream is doing pretty crappy, to be honest with you, because there was a moment I thought it was dead. I looked up at my monitor thing and it was a black screen. I don't normally see that, so I know they're doing work outside on the power lines. So I apologize if it's been bad like that. It's out of my control. Mitch Hedberg gone way too soon. Yeah, Mitch was really funny, and there's a lot of people who've tried to take over the Mitch Hedberg thing. I know there's a lot of conspiracies that Alex Jones is Mitch Hedberg, and that Alex Jones is really Frog. Comedy's great. And I love a good conspiracy. Because it's funny to like point out the like just how obvious some of them are. Like they're just wrong, but when somebody has a lot of conviction in something, you can't help but admire the passion. Stream seems solid. Good. Used to love Mitch Hedberg. I still do. Used to. Yeah, I used to. That's how I feel about Norm. I could watch Norm stuff indefinitely, forever. Indefinitely. Do you remember when Norm did the roast of Bob Saget? And they wanted him to be super mean because everyone else was like really mean to Bob Saget. And he went up and he bombed on purpose. He literally read verbatim a joke book from like the 1920s. And everybody on stage knew what was happening, but the crowd didn't. And just Norm's just got the shit-eating grin on his face. Who would do that on national TV other than him? He just didn't care. Because to him, it was just about, like, what was funny to him and making people feel uncomfortable. He was the best. God, I love Norm Macdonald. I'm going to have to listen to some Norm after this. Cheer myself up. Watch the thing where he rags on Kasim G. Anyways, guys. Yeah. I hope to have something posted tomorrow. I got a big smile because I love talking about some off-topic stuff, and it's good to see you guys got some good taste in comedy. Good to see you guys got some good taste in comedy. Man, what a funny time. Yeah, I gotta watch Norm. There'll be something either tomorrow or Saturday, depending on whether or not I want to just do a talking head thing. I've been trying not to. Like I was tempted to do one about the PRS layoff stuff because that was like a huge freaking thing. That people wouldn't shut up about, and everybody came an armchair economist, and that stuff is what's popular. Again, it's negative. So if I make a video about it, people are going to click it, even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. People are going to click it. But I didn't do it. However, I'm tempted to make a talking head video tomorrow, and I haven't put out anything in a week, and it's the holidays, so I should, even if I can't play. But I do have some cool stuff that I'm really excited that I was recently sent by a few brands that we'll be doing demos of when everything heals up, and we'll go from there. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. This was a real one today, and it's always nice for a change to do that. So hope you guys have a good weekend. If I don't see you, if I do see you, you leave me a comment. I'll respond to you. All right? Take care. Norm.